చెప్పండి. రావట్లేదా? హలో హలో హలో. హలో. రైట్. సో హ్యూమన్స్ ఆర్ sexually reproducing organism. That means they produce male gamete by male individual, female gamete by the female individual. So the fusion of the male and female gamete takes place, so that we are calling humans are sexually reproducing organism. So right. So sexually reproducing organism and viviparous animals. Viviparous, that means they can give birth to the young ones. So there is no larval form. So they can give birth to the directly young one. There is no eggs. So they directly they produce young ones. Young individual. Directly they give birth to the young individual. So we are calling viviparous animals. And humans are dioecious animals. Dioecious, also known as unisexual organisms. So human beings are dioecious animals or unisexual organisms. That means male reproductive organs are present in male individual. Already you know that. And female reproductive organs are present in female individual. Both the sexes are separated, right? So both the sexes are separated, and male reproductive organs are present in male, and female reproductive organs are present in female individual. So that's why we say human beings are dioecious animal or unisexual animal. So this is the basic introduction part of the NCERT book, and these three sentences are also very, very important. Based on these sentences also they will ask you some questions, right? So that's why these three sentences also you should remember, right? So sexually reproducing organism, viviparous animal, dioecious, unisexual organism. So now the reproductive events that present in human beings. The reproductive events that present in human beings are: the first one, gametogenesis. Gametogenesis. The second one, insemination. Insemination. Third one, fertilization. Fertilization. Right? Implantation. Gestation. Parturition. Okay. So these are the reproductive events that present in humans: gametogenesis, insemination, fertilization, implantation, gestation, parturition. So in gametogenesis means simple, you know, production of the gametes or formation of the gamete, that is male gamete and female gamete. We can say it is a gametogenesis. So formation of the gamete. Formation of gamete. So that is male gamete form female gamete ova is called gametogenesis. And the second one, insemination. Insemination, transportation of the sperm into female genital tract is called insemination. And fertilization, fusion of the male and female gamete is called fertilization. So these reproductive events, the fertilization is the reproductive event which takes place in ampulla region. Ampulla region of oviduct. This is very, very important. Each and every line is very important. Sometimes they will ask you question, which of the following reproductive events that occur or which takes place in ampulla region of the oviduct or fallopian tube. So that fertilization is the event which takes place in ampulla region. And here gametogenesis is the event of the reproduction that takes place in primary sex organ. It takes place in primary sex organ. Primary sex organ. So we know that primary sex organs in case of the female ovaries, in case of the male are testes. So these primary sex organ is the site or location where gametogenesis process or gametogenesis event takes place. So this is very, very important. Next, implantation. Implantation means attachment of the embryo in the form of blastocyst to the uterine wall is called implantation. So this implantation event occur in uterus. So sometimes they will ask you question. So the event, one of the following event of human reproduction related to uterus, that is implantation and development of the baby, that is gestation also, because development of the baby taking place in the uterus, that development period we can say it is a gestation period. The development of the embryo we can say it is a gestation. Parturition, delivery of the baby, expulsion of the baby after full development, right, or after 9 months we can say parturition, right. So these are the reproductive events that present in human being. So based on these events they will ask you question, right. So very, very important. So I told you formation of gametes, that is gametogenesis. Gametogenesis. The transfer of the sperm into female genital tract, that is called insemination. Insemination. So here they will ask you one more question. So which of the following event takes place during the coitus or copulation or intercourse, sexual intercourse? That is insemination. During the copulation time, or coitus or sexual intercourse. Sexual intercourse. So during the sexual intercourse time, insemination event takes place, right. Next, fusion of the male and female gamete, that is called fertilization. Already I told you, fertilization. Next, formation and development of the blastocyst and its attachment to the uterine wall, we are calling implantation. Implantation. Embryonic development, already I told you, gestation. Gestation period, and delivery of the baby, we can say parturition. Parturition. And there is a one more terminology we used to study in excretory system, that is called micturition. Micturition is the release of urine from urinary bladder, is called micturition. Here, delivery of the baby, the fully developed baby expel out through the cervical canal is called parturition. Okay, so parturition, micturition, both the terminology you should remember. That is very, very important, right. So the major differences between the gametogenesis and spermatogenesis. So gametogenesis again divided into two terms, two types of, that is, one is spermatogenesis that takes place in testes, other is oogenesis that takes place in ovaries. So that there are remarkable differences present between gametogenesis, that is oogenesis, and spermatogenesis. So this is very, very important. Now you can say the reproductive event gametogenesis That is, spermatogenesis takes place in male and spermatogenesis takes place in testes. Female, the gametogenesis process we are calling oogenesis, that takes place in ovary, right? So in male, the spermatogenesis begins at puberty or at the 12 years of age, right? The production of these sperms will start at the time of puberty or 12 years of age. But oogenesis will be initiated only during the embryonic period, but later it is arrested in prophase 1, meiotic division 1, that will be continued or resumed at after puberty. Okay, you remember this is very, very important. Oogenesis is a process that is initiated during the embryonic stage, but it is arrested temporarily, prophase 1 of meiotic division 1. But again, it will initiated, right, after puberty because of increasing the concentration of gonadotropin hormones, that is follicle stimulating hormone, LH hormone. So these hormone concentration will increase during the puberty time. Because of these two hormones, the primary oocyte, which was arrested in prophase 1, will start developing into secondary, tertiary, and Graafian follicle. So spermatogenesis is a continuous process, right? In even older people also it will present, but oogenesis is a discontinuous process. Okay, so oogenesis is a discontinuous process. Reason is that after certain age, there is no primary oocyte or there is no primary follicle in each ovary. So we already studied that the primary follicle, the total number of primary follicle left in each ovary at the time of puberty, 60 to 80,000, right? By the 50 years, around at the age of the 50 years, there will be no primary follicle left in each ovary. So that's why it will be discontinued process, but spermatogenesis is a continued process until death. So these are very, very important. Right. So because of this spermatogenesis, we are getting millions of these sperms. 200 to 300 millions of these sperms we are getting because of this spermatogenesis, right? But in oogenesis, we will get only single ovum during the menstrual cycle. Only one ovum is released during the each menstrual cycle, right? And it can be continued in even in older people, but oogenesis will be arrested, or that condition reproductive phase is a limited. Oogenesis is a limited phase. It will be arrested at the age of 45 to 50 years. That condition we can say it is a menopause. Menopause. Okay. And so the hormones that controlling spermatogenesis are follicle stimulating hormone, LH hormone, testosterone hormone. These are the hormones that control spermatogenesis. Very, very important. So again, I will explain during the spermatogenesis, just you remember. Right? Now, oogenesis controlled by follicular stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, estrogen hormone, progesterone hormone. Very, very important. Right? So gametes here. Because of this spermatogenesis, we are getting motile sperm. But here, ovum is non-motile. Ovum is non-motile and the sperm is motile. Right? So these are the remarkable differences between the spermatogenesis and oogenesis. And each and every step is important. Okay. Now you can see this is the question related to that topic I explained it. Correct sequence of reproductive events in humans. So the first step will be gametogenesis. Gametogenesis, insemination, fertilization. But here it given fertilization. After insemination, fertilization will be there. So this is the wrong answer. Gametogenesis is okay. Insemination is okay. After insemination, there will be fertilization. This is right. But here, insemination, no. After gametogenesis, only insemination will come. Right? So both are insemination. So here fertilization given. So we can eliminate these two. So the B is the right answer. Okay. So these kind of questions they will give you the first introduction part of the NCERT book. Don't neglect the introduction part also. Right. So this chapter is very, very important. Next. So I told you humans are dash and dash organisms. Just I told you in the first slide. So humans are sexually reproducing organism, oviparous condition. But in this they given asexually, asexually. Simple, you can avoid these two options. Right? So all human beings are sexually reproducing organisms. Simple, we can avoid these two. And last option you can say sexually reproducing organism, right? Viviparous condition. But here it is given oviparous condition. Here it is given viviparous condition. Right? I told you that. So humans directly they give birth to the young ones. We do not lay eggs. So humans do not lay eggs. Okay, they don't lay eggs. So simple. The option is correct option is D. So humans are sexually reproducing organism, viviparous animal, dioecious animal, or unisexual animal. So option is 4. So these kind of questions they will ask you from introduction part of the human reproduction chapter. Okay, one more question. This is very, very important. Statement type question they may ask you from this topic. All reproductive events occur after puberty. This statement is right. Second statement, the sperm formation continues even in old age men. Yes. Statement 1, statement 2, both are correct. Statement 1, statement 2, both are correct because in men, the spermatogenesis will continue up to the death. Right? All reproductive events in human occur after puberty. Right? Except that oogenesis. Oogenesis initiated during the embryonic development, but it was arrested temporarily. Right? So except that remaining these two, both the statements are right. You can see same one more question here. All reproductive events in human females occur after puberty except gametogenesis. Yes, this is right. I told you gametogenesis initiated during the embryonic stage, but remaining all that event will take place at age of puberty, right? Oogenesis in female is initiated during the embryonic stage and arrested prophase 1 until puberty, right? Both are right, and R is the correct explanation of A. All reproductive events in human occur after puberty except gametogenesis, right? Oogenesis in female initiated during the embryonic stage, arrested in prophase 1 until puberty. That is the correct reason to this one, gametogenesis. Okay. So these kind of questions they may ask you from that introduction part of the human reproduction. Next, male reproductive system, right? So male reproductive system is present in pelvis region. Very, very important. Male reproductive region present in pelvis region. What is pelvis region? The pelvis is a region which present between two thighs and abdomen. Between two thighs and this is abdomen. These are two thighs. So this is the region we can say it is a pelvis region, right? So pelvis region, very, very important. Male reproductive system is located or present in pelvis region. And male reproductive system divided into this one one pair of testes, one pair of testes and accessory ducts, accessory ducts, accessory glands, accessory gland, external genitalia. Right? So these are the parts of the male reproductive system. Right? One pair of testes present outside abdominal cavity in a special pouch. Outside abdominal cavity. In a pouch that is called scrotum. Right? So one pair of testes located outside the abdominal cavity in a special pouch that is called scrotum. And accessory ducts. Accessory ducts include. So based on these also sometimes they will ask you question. Which of the following is not a part of male accessory duct, they will ask you. So here accessory ducts include rete testes, vasa efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens. Okay, so these are male accessory ducts, very important. Rete testis, vasa efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens. And accessory ducts, it includes one pair of seminal vesicle, one pair seminal vesicle and prostate gland, and one more, one pair bulbourethral gland, Okay, so here you can see this is also very important. So sometimes they will ask you accessory gland and unpaired gland of the male reproductive system. Prostate gland is the unpaired gland, but one pair of seminal vesicle, one pair of bulbourethral gland, these are the paired one. Paired, right? So vasa differentia also paired. Epididymis also, because two testes are present, right? Rete testis is the junction, right? Next one, scrotum. Testes are primary sex organ. Primary sex organ. Why testes are called primary sex organ? What is the reason behind we are calling always primary sex organ? Testes are primary sex organ means primary sex organ, they producing some hormones. That hormones are very much needed for the functioning of all these parts, right? For the functioning of accessory duct, for the functioning of accessory gland, or for total functioning of the male reproductive system, we need testes. So that's why testis is called primary sex organ. Okay, all the reproductive events in the male controlled by the sperms. So we can say it is a primary sex organ. Very important. Assertion reason type question they will ask you, right? In male, testes are called primary sex organ. Right answer. Okay. Reason. It produces several hormones, or it produces hormone. That hormones are important for the growth and development and functioning of the male reproductive organ. So both are and reason, assertion and reason both are right, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Okay, so here also you can remember the part of the accessory duct, seminal vesicle pair, prostate is unpaired, bulbourethral is paired. Next one, external genitalia. External genitalia means the reproductive part that visible outside, or the reproductive part we can see that present outside, right? So example, male reproductive part that present outside, that visible outside are penis and scrotum. Okay, penis and scrotum are the reproductive part of the male reproductive system that visible outside. So that's why we are calling external genitalia. Very, very important. Okay. Next. Okay. First one pair of testes. One pair of testes. So already I told you one pair of testes present outside the abdominal cavity, that is in a special pouch that is called scrotum. Scrotum. Okay. And outside abdominal cavity, you can see this is scrotum. Inside the scrotum, pink color or pinkish color testes are present. Oval shaped testes. Testes are oval shaped, pink color. Pink color, oval shape. The length of the testes 4 to 5 centimeters length. Width of the testes 2 to 3 centimeters. Right? So the length of the testis 4 to 5 centimeter, width of the testis 2 to 3 centimeters. Sometimes they based on the morphology also they will ask you question. Which of the following is not related to the testis, or which of the following incorrect related to the testis, or which of the following is correct related to the testis. Testes are primary sex organ, right? Testes are present outside the abdominal cavity in a special pouch that is called scrotum, that is also right. Okay, the length of the testes are 4 to 5 centimeter, that is also right, and width is 2 to 3 centimeter, that is also right. They are pink in color, right. Oval shape, right. Right. What is the function of these testes? Scrotum. Scrotum maintains 2 to 2.5 degrees centigrade. They maintain temperature of the testes, that is 2 to 2.5 degrees centigrade minus to the normal internal body temperature. Normal internal body temperature, because sperm is the testis is the site for the production of the sperm, that is called spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis. Production of the sperm takes place inside the testis, that is spermatogenesis. For this spermatogenesis, the temperature should be less to the body temperature, 2 to 2.5 degrees centigrade less to the body temperature. So in that temperature only testis can produce the sperm, because the sperm is the smallest cell, right? And after RBC, if the temperature is more, they may die. Because of that reason only, the scrotum maintaining the temperature. How the scrotum is maintaining the temperature? You know, there are dartus muscles are present, cremaster muscles are present. They maintain the temperature. That is not given NCERT. We don't need. But Just you remember line to line of NCERT. Okay. So 2 to 2.5 degrees centigrade minus to the normal internal body temperature is very important. Normal internal body temperature. Example, our normal internal body temperature 37 degrees centigrade. What is the temperature of the scrotum? So then you can minus 2 to 2.5 degrees centigrade minus to the normal internal body temperature, right? So 34.5, 34 to 34.5 approximately. So they, based on these also, they will ask you some questions. Okay, right. So this is the diagram. So this is lateral view of the male reproductive system. One pair of testes present outside the abdominal cavity, that I told you, right? So now we will be discussing about the internal structure of the testes. Testes, right? Testes are surrounded by a dense fibrous capsule or dense fibrous tissue layer that is called tunica albuginea. Tunica albuginea. NCERT, it is given only dense tissue which is protecting the testes. You can see this is oval shape, pink color testes. Oval shape, pink color testes surrounded by dense tissue. Right? Now these testes divided into testicular lobes. Testicular lobes. Each testis divided into testicular lobe. The tunica albuginea layer are the connective tissue layer which invaginate inside and forming. You can see this is the layer. It is invaginating inside and forming septa, dividing the testes into, these testes are divided into 250 testicular lobes. Testicular lobes. These are all testicular lobes. If one testis contains 200 testicular lobes, there will be two testes. So total number of testicular lobes are 500. Now each testicular lobe contain 1 to 3, either 1 or 2 or 3 seminiferous tubule. Each testicular lobe contain 1 to 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubule. Okay, so these are all seminiferous tubules. Okay, so 1 to 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubule. If you are taking one, the total number of seminiferous tubule will be 250 in one testis, right? If you are taking both, 500, and if you are taking 3, that is 1500. Each lobe contain 1 to 3 seminiferous tubule, highly coiled tube, right? So we also studied proximal convoluted tube, distal convoluted tube, also highly coiled tube. Okay, so that is also may include, sometime they will ask you question, identify the highly coiled tube in the following. In that case, if they have given seminiferous tubule is also highly coiled tube. Okay, now these seminiferous tubule, if we cut cross section, this seminiferous tubule, inside it is lined by two cells. Inside, outside. Inside, outside. Inside it is lined by two cells. This is one seminiferous tubule. This is another seminiferous tubule. Okay. Right. This is another seminiferous tubule. Now you can see this inside. Inside lined by two types of cells. And this is one more. Two types of cells are there. Right. So inside two types of cells are present. One, male germ cell and sertoli cell. Male germ cells and sertoli cells. This male germ cell, also called spermatogonia, it will undergo meiotic division. Finally, it undergoes meiotic division and produce sperms. Okay, so actually the site of the production of the sperm is seminiferous tubule. Male germ cell produces into sperm. Now the sertoli cell, you can see these are white color sertoli cells, right? They're also called testicular cells. They produce androgen binding protein and inhibin protein. So inhibin protein is not given in NCERT, but androgen binding protein with this name it is not given, but sertoli cell releases some factors. They have given sertoli cell releases some factors. That factor helps in spermatogenesis, spermiogenesis. Very, very important. Androgen binding factor. And the main function of this cell, nutrition. They supply nutrition to the developing sperms. When the male germ cells are converted into sperms or developing into sperms, they are nourished by the sertoli cell nutrition. Now, in between the tube, you can say this is one seminiferous tubule, this is one seminiferous tubule, this is one seminiferous tubule. Now there is a gap between the cells. This is known as intertubular space. Intertubular space or gap. Intertubular space. This intertubular space we are also calling interstitium. Interstitial. Interstitial space. So the region that present outside the seminiferous tubule we are calling intertubular space or interstitial space. In these interstitial place or intertubular phase, Leydig cells are present. Leydig cells, blood vessel, blood vessels, and lymphatic vessels, and very, very important, one more, immunologically competent cells also present. Very, very, very important. So interstitial space contain Leydig cells are also called interstitial cells. So these cells produce male androgen, that is testosterone. You know the testosterone function. It helps in development of the accessory duct, accessory gland, sexual dimorphism, right? So voice, low pitch voice by stimulating vocal cords, and axillary air, pubic air, facial air, controlled by testosterone in case of the male. Now, the immunologically competent cells. The main function of this immunologically competent cell is they providing from the antibodies that is produced against the germ cells. Because in our body, all the cells are made up of with the 2n condition. All the cells in our body are 2n condition, but only sperms are n condition. So sometimes our own immune system can produce antibodies against these developing sperms. To overcome that problem, right, along with serotoli cells, immunological competent cells, they prevent detection of the antibodies produced by our body, right, against this sperm cell. Very, very important. Sometimes they will ask you question. Which of the following components are present in intertubular space of the seminiferous tubule? Right? So inside the tube, lined by, I will show you one question. So this is the question, scrotum temperature in human. The scrotum maintain temperature in human 2 to 2.5 degrees centigrade lower than normal internal body temperature. Right? So passage of this form already I will explain this. Location of male reproductive system, pelvis region. Okay, I will explain. Right. Now you can see the sperms which are produced in seminiferous tubule enter into rete testis, vasa apparentia. Vasa apparentia open into epididymis. This is epididymis. Epididymis, yellow color. Epididymis present on posterior surface of the testis. Very, very important. This is the posterior surface. The posterior surface of testis contains epididymis. The main function of epididymis is temporary storage of the sperm and maturation of the sperm. But it is not given NCERT, but important. Epididymis is located on the posterior surface of the testis. Epididymis open into vasa apparentia. So this is vasa apparentia. Sorry, vasa deferens. Vasa deferens is ascending towards abdomen. Very, very important. Vasa deferens is ascending towards abdomen and it is looping urinary bladder. Looping the urinary bladder and joining with the duct arising from the seminal vesicle. Joining with a duct arising from the seminal vesicle and forming common duct. That common duct we are calling ejaculatory duct. Ejaculatory duct. So these ejaculatory duct, here it enter into urethra. Enter into urethra. Urethra is starting from the urinary bladder, extended through the penis up to urethral meatus. Very, very important. Urinary bladder is, urethra is originate from the urinary bladder from here, extended through the penis up to urethral meatus. Up to urethral meatus. So this is given in NCERT. Okay. Up to urethral meatus. Very, very important. Penis open outside through the small opening is called urethral meatus. Now, one more structure. External genitalia. Already we discussed about the scrotum, but one more is there, that is penis. Right? Penis is made up of with this special or type of erectile tissue. Special type of erectile tissue. Only they mentioned in NCERT, special type of tissue that present in penis, which helps in erection and that helps in insemination. Question important, right? So penis is made up of with the special type of tissue, erectile tissue, right? erectile tissue, just for your understanding I am dying, that is Carpora cavernosa 2 columns and Carpora spongiosum. Carpora spongiosum, this is the Carpora spongiosum, ventral column. These two are dorsal column, Carpora cavernosa. And these both the columns are filled with gap or erectile tissue. This is erectile tissue. This is filled with erectile tissue, right? So when these erectile tissue filled with blood, right? So the erection of the penis takes place. So because of that erection only, insemination takes place. Insemination takes place. Okay, I hope you understood. This concept is very, very important, right? Erectile tissue present, right? Next one. Now you can see one pair of seminal vesicle, one pair of seminal vesicle. So this is one pair of seminal vesicle present. So they joining with a duct. Ejaculatory duct. Seminal vesicle and this is urethra. These are prostate gland and bulbourethral gland. Prostate gland, seminal vesicle, bulbourethral gland. The secretion of these glands, we are calling seminal plasma. Seminal plasma. Seminal plasma. Right? So seminal plasma. Seminal plasma once combined with forms, we can say it is a semen. Semen. And the seminal plasma contain fructose, right? Calcium ions, certain enzymes. Certain enzymes are present. Certain enzymes are present. Okay. Next one. Female reproductive system. So female reproductive system, it includes one pair of ovaries and oviduct or accessory ducts, and accessory glands, external genitalia or external genital. So these are the parts of female reproductive system. These are the parts of female reproductive system, right? Accessory ducts of female reproductive system, it includes one pair of oviduct, single uterus, cervix, vagina. Right? Actually, cervix is the part of the uterus only. Cervix is the part of the uterus. So one pair of oviduct, uterus and vagina, these are the female accessory ducts. And female accessory glands include Bartholin glands, and Skene's glands, but NCRT they have not given these two glands, but they have given only mammary glands. Okay, mammary gland. So one by one we will take. Very, very important. Here this very one important here very you have to focus here, very important area. In female, all these reproductive parts, general main ovaries, oviduct, present in pelvic region, lower abdominal region. Male female reproductive system present in lower abdominal region, lower abdominal region, but only external genitalia located in pelvic region. Pelvic region, very important. So sometimes they will ask you question, male reproductive system and external genitalia of the female reproductive system both are present in pelvic or pelvis region. Statement based question. This is the right one. Okay. So but ovaries and oviduct, uterus, these are the parts which present in lower abdominal cavity inside. But external genitalia is present in pelvic region. You know pelvis is a region which is made up of with the two coxal bone. Two coxal bone. Okay, this very important. Keep concentration on these points. And also you remember accessory ducts of the female reproductive system. Next, ovaries. One pair of ovaries are present. One pair. They are primary sex organ. Primary sex organs of female. Primary sex organ, almond shape. Almond shape. Almond shape present either side of the lower abdominal cavity. They present each ovary present either side of lower abdominal cavity. Either side of the lower abdominal cavity. So this is the abdominal cavity and this is the lower abdominal cavity. Now here you can see ovaries are present like this. Fallopian tube. Okay. So either side of the lower abdominal cavity, one pair of ovaries are present. Primary sex organ. Reason they produce many are NCERT given that you remember several steroid hormones. Several steroid hormones. Several steroid hormones are released by the ovary and also it produces female gamete ova. It produces female gamete ova and several steroid hormones also released by the ovary. So it is a primary sex organ. What are those several hormones or what are the hormones that is released by the ovary? So here only you can write important. One, estrogen, progesterone, relaxin, estrogen, progesterone, relaxin. These are the hormones released by the primary sex organ. But in some books they mention inhibin. Inhibin is also hormone released by the ovary, right? So this is very important. Relaxin hormone is released by the released from the ovary during the later phase of the pregnancy. That means during the third trimester, during the 9 months of the pregnancy, relaxin will be released and that helps in extension of the pelvic girdle. That can help in easy delivery. That relaxin very important. Progesterone, estrogen, you know, growing follicles will release estrogen, and progesterone is released from the corpus luteum after ovulation, right? So this is about ovaries. Ovaries are attached to the abdominal wall by a ligament. Now you can see these are ovaries. Suppose this is abdominal wall, these are ovaries. They are attached to the abdominal wall, not abdominal wall, pelvic wall. Pelvic wall by ligament. So generally we can say ovarian ligament. Suspensory ligament and ovarian ligament, both are the ligament. They are keeping the ovaries in their position in lower abdominal cavity, right? So very important. Pelvic wall, you remember. Suppose if they are asking ovaries are connected to the abdominal wall, thus will be different. Ovaries are connected to the abdominal wall with the help of the mesovarium. Mesovarium is a double layered peritoneum. Mesovarium is a double layered peritoneum which is connecting the ovaries with abdominal wall. Where this is abdominal wall, but ligament is the structure with connecting the ovaries with pelvic wall. Pelvic wall is different, abdominal wall is different. So mesovarium is double layered membrane. That you should remember. Very important. Okay, sometimes they may ask you question, what is the difference between ligament and mesovarium? So mesovarium is attaching to the abdominal wall, ligament is attaching to the pelvic wall. One pair of ovaries. Okay, and 2 to 4 centimeters in length. Ovaries are 2 to 4 centimeters in length. Okay, so very important. Next one. So this is female reproductive system in pelvis region. Female reproductive system in pelvis region. If you open your NCERT book, you can see the diagram. It is mentioned. This is female reproductive system showing in pelvic region. Okay, that is very important. Next, one pair of ovary. Next, oviduct. So oviduct are fallopian tube extended between ovary and uterus. You can say this is uterus, this entire area uterus, right? And these are ovary. The region which is extended between ovary and uterus and ovary, we can say it is a fallopian tube. And the part of the fallopian tube which is close to the ovary, it is called infundibulum. You can say the part of the fallopian tube which is close to the ovary, we can say it is the infundibulum. Now these infundibulum having finger-like projections. These finger-like projections that present on infundibulum, we can say it is a fimbriae. The main function of these fimbriae, collection of ova. Collection of ova. Collection of ova after ovulation. That is important. Not before ovulation. After ovulation, you can say they are releasing ova. Ovary releasing ova. Right? After ovulation, these ova will be collected by the fimbriae. Now, these infundibulum open into wider region. Wider region they are calling ampulla region. So the wider region of the fallopian tube oviduct is called ampulla, and infundibulum is the part which is opening into ampulla, and ampulla already I told you is the site for fertilization. Fertilization takes place in ampulla region. In old NCERT book, that is given that ampulla isthmic region is the site where fertilization takes place. But now in the new NCERT book, it is clearly mentioned that fertilization is only taking in ampulla region. That's very important. Now ampulla region open into narrow canal, which is connected to uterus, is called isthmus. Isthmus is the canal which is connected to the uterus. Okay. Now uterus. Uterus is a single muscular inverted pear shape. Uterus is a muscular single inverted pear shape. You can see this is uterus. Sorry. This is uterus, inverted pear shape, single, highly muscular and located between urinary bladder and rectum. Okay, so located between urinary bladder and rectum, that is uterus. Single, highly muscular, highly vascular, and this uterus connected to the abdominal wall by the ligament. Again, uterus is also connected to the abdominal wall by the ligament, right? So now here these are the ovaries. Ovaries are connected like this, abdominal wall, right? This is fallopian tube, finger-like structure. Okay. Uterus, single, inverted, pear-shaped structure, right? And muscular structure present between rectum, urinary bladder, and rectum, and it is connected to the pelvic wall, by the ligament, and it is divided into three regions. Superior region of the uterus we are calling fundus, superior region, and dome shape region. The superior dome shape region of the uterine cavity, uterus, is called fundus region, and which open into central large portion. This is the central large portion, uterine cavity, and so this central large portion open into narrow cervix. Okay, narrow cervix. So this cervix open into a canal called R. The cervix contain cavity. Inside the cervix there will be a cavity. That cavity we can say cervical canal. Now this cervical canal along with vaginal canal forming birth canal. Okay, so cervical canal along with vagina forming birth canal. Right? Now here this is very important. The wall of the uterine cavity, the wall of the uterus is divided into three parts. The outermost layer of the uterus wall is called peripheral layer. Outermost layer we are calling perimetrium. This is the outermost layer, we can say it is a perimetrium. Perimetrium is a thin layer. And the second layer, highly muscular, thickest layer. This is white color. Highly muscular and the thickest layer, we can say it is a myometrium. Thick layer, myometrium. And innermost layer, glandular layer, highly foldings are present, and this innermost layer is called endometrium. Endometrium is a glandular, right? So very important. So question, this endometrium layer helps in implantation of the embryo. One function you remember, implantation, and also endometrium layer helps in Or endometrium is the layer which undergoes cyclical changes during the menstrual cycle, during the menstruation. Okay, endometrium lining will undergo cyclical changes during the menstruation. Okay, so glandular layer, thick layer, thin layer, important. You should remember. And arrange the following layers of the uterus: inner to outer, outer to inner. Also, they will ask you, right? So this is about uterus. Next, external genitalia of the female reproductive system. External genitalia. So external genitalia includes mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, minora, clitoris, hymen. So vagina is the not a part of external genitalia. So already I told you external genitalia means the reproductive part that visible outside. Okay, mons pubis. So this is a cushion of fatty tissue. You can say this is the cushion of fatty tissue, right? Covered by skin. It is a cushion of fatty tissue covered by skin and pubic hair. Very, very important. Right? Cushion of fatty tissue covered by skin and pubic hair. Next, labia majora is a fleshy folding of the tissue extended down from the mons pubis and covering vaginal opening. Covering the vaginal opening. Okay, covering the vaginal opening. This is vaginal opening. It is covered by labia majora. Labia majora. Right? Inside the labia majora, labia minora present. This is labia minora. Majora, labia minora. Inside the large labia majora, one more fleshy fold of tissue present, that is called labia minora. Upper junction of two labia minora. You can see this is the upper junction of the two labia minora, and above the urethral opening or urethral orifice. Okay, above the urethral orifice or urethral opening, at the junction of the two labia, junction of two labia minora, a tiny finger-like structure, present. The tiny finger-like structure that present at the junction of two labia minora and urethral, above the urethral opening, it is called clitoris. Clitoris. Okay, so clitoris is homologous organ, homologous to penis of male, because both are made up of it corpora cavernosa tissue. So that's why clitoris homologous to the penis, and this is mons pubis. Now you can see this is the cavity. This cavity we are calling vaginal cavity or vagina. This vaginal cavity partially covered by a membrane called hymen. partially covered by a membrane hymen. Okay, presence of or absence of hymen is not a reliable indicator of the sexual experience. Okay, generally hymen will turn, it will turn during the first coitus, or during the first coitus or sexual intercourse it will turn, or due to some other reason like sudden fall or jolt, sudden fall or jumping due to that, or active participation in horseback riding, horseback back riding and cycling. Okay, so during the cycling, during the horseback riding, sudden fall, in these condition also it will tear. The hymen will tear. So that is the reason presence or absence of hymen is not a reliable indicator or sexual experience. Okay, even these hymen can remain in some women after coitus also. Okay, so the hymen can remain after coitus in some women. The reason because it is a flexible and stretchable structure. Okay, hymen is a flexible and stretchable structure. So that is the reason in some women it may remain even after coitus also. Okay, so these are very very important. And insertion of vaginal tampon. Vaginal tampon. Okay, so one type of sanitary napkin, vaginal tampon. Because of insertion of the vaginal tampon also, sometime the hymen will tear. Okay, so this is about external genitalia, right? So hymen, it is a partially covering the vaginal opening, you remember. Mons pubis, fusion of fatty tissue covered by it. The fleshy folding of the tissue, that we can say this is labia majora, labia minora, clitoris, very very important. Okay, so mammary glands, next one. So one pair of mammary gland also called breast, present in thoracic region, and mammary glands are modified sweat glands. Mammary glands are modified sweat glands. Each mammary gland, each mammary gland are also called breast. And you remember the functional mammary glands is the characteristic features of the females mammals. So functional mammary gland is the characteristic feature of the females, except to some monotremes. Monotremes like platypus, echidna. In these animals, in male also, functional mammary glands are present. Okay. Now each breast is divided into 15 to 20 lobes. Okay, each breast is divided into 15 to 20 lobes. You can see these are lobes. Each lobe is made up of with clusters of cells. Okay, each lobe is made up of with clusters of cells. These clusters of cells we are calling alveoli, right? So you can see these are all clusters of cells, alveoli, right? So the cells that present in alveoli secrete milk into lumen, right? So now these open into small mammary tubules. These are mammary tubules. Mammary tubules to open into small ductile mammary tubule. Mammary tubule together they form mammary duct. So mammary ducts, all mammary ducts open into a swollen part, that is called ampulla. All ampulla open into lactiferous duct. You can see here. So each mammary lobe divided into 15 to 20 lobes. Each lobe contains clusters of cells. Clusters of cells we are calling alveoli. The cells that present in alveoli secrete milk into cavity that cavity we are calling lumen. Right? So now that enter into small tube. Suppose, so this is alveoli and these are all cells. Right? So they enter into small ductile. So these, sorry, small tube, all these small tube together forming one duct, mammary duct. So mammary duct open into swollen part, ampulla. Ampulla open into lactiferous duct. Okay. So the sequence you remember. Each breast is made up of with glandular tissue, variable amount of the fat. So variable amount of the fat and these are glandular tissue together forming mammary glands or breast. Functional mammary gland is the characteristic feature of the females except some monosperms. Okay. Gametogenesis. Next. Gametogenesis. Production of the male and female gamete, we can say gametogenesis. Gametogenesis. Production of the male gamete, spermatogenesis. Production of the female gamete is called oogenesis. Both comes under gametogenesis. Okay. So spermatogenesis directly. In spermatogenesis, immature male germ cells. Immature male germ cells. Right? Immature male germ cell, that is called spermatogonia. Spermatogonia undergoes meiotic division, two meiotic division, and finally it can produce male gamete. Okay, that I will explain to you. Right? So seminiferous tubule, you know, seminiferous tubule is lined by germinal epithelium, that is spermatogonia. Right? Now, this spermatogonia undergoes repeated mitotic division. Mitotic divisions. Okay, spermatogonia undergoing repeated mitotic division. Now you can see it can produce spermatogonia. Okay, that is called multiplication phase. Multiplication phase. After repeated division, some of the spermatogonia increase the content of the DNA converted into primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte. Okay. These primary spermatocyte and spermatogonia, the chromosome number will be 2n condition or 46. Only 46. 2n condition. Now this primary spermatocyte undergoes division and produce equal size applied secondary spermatocyte. Secondary spermatocyte. Spermatocyte. Secondary spermatocyte. So the condition is N because primary spermatocyte undergoing meiotic division 1, that is a reductional division. Because of that reductional division, chromosome number will be reduced to half. So that's why N condition. Now these secondary spermatocyte undergoes meiotic division 2 and produce spermatid. They produce spermatid. Okay. Finally, the spermatids will produce sperm. Okay. So this is the process of spermatogenesis. Process of spermatogenesis. Okay. Okay. So this is about spermatogenesis. Now, if one primary spermatocyte undergoing meiotic division 1, we are getting two secondary spermatocytes and four sperm. Okay. So now, when the spermatids are converted into sperms, that is called spermiogenesis. Spermiogenesis. Now the sperms are from the seminiferous tubule, they are coming into accessory duct. That is called spermiation. That is called spermiation. Okay. This question. This is very important. You can see to produce or from 100 spermatogonia give rise to. Very important. I told you one from the one spermatogonia undergoing or mature growth phase, the content of the DNA of the spermatogonia will increase, converted into primary spermatocyte. So 100 spermatogonia converted into 100 primary spermatocyte. Right? Next, from one primary spermatocyte, we are getting two secondary spermatocytes. So 100 into 2, 200. From each secondary spermatocyte, we are getting two sperm. So 100, 200 into 2, total 400. So these kind of questions they will give you the very important concept. If 100 spermatogonia give rise 100 primary spermatocyte, 200 secondary spermatocyte, 400 sperms. Okay, spermiogenesis means sperm is converted spermatid. This spermatid converted into sperm is called spermiogenesis. Okay, and the release of the sperm from the seminiferous tubule into accessory duct. Accessory duct, that is called spermiation. Spermiation. Okay. So structure of the sperm structure. Okay. Sperm is a microscopic structure. Microscopic. Microscopic structure. It contains mainly head, neck, middle piece, and tail. So these are the parts of the sperm: head, Head is covered by a cap-like structure that is called acrosome. 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 And middle piece and tail. Okay. In neck, there are two centrioles are present: proximal centriole, distal centriole. So distal centriole, from the distal centriole, axial filament will develop. Proximal centriole is preserved, and that will help in cleavage after fertilization. Acrosome, and this is applied nucleus. Applied nucleus covered by acrosome. Acrosome releases certain enzymes. Enzymes like hyaluronidase, right? Acrosin, zonal-lysine or acrosin. These are certain enzymes are present in acrosome, and that helps in fertilization. And acrosome is modified form of the Golgi complex. And middle piece contains spiral of the mitochondria, spiral of the mitochondria, mitochondria. So their energy source or middle piece the energy chamber that providing energy for the movement of the tail, and the movement of the tail will help in fertilization, right? So energy is provided by the mitochondria which present in middle piece, and that helps in movement of the tail, and that movement of the tail helps in fertilization. Okay, so that is important, right? That's it. So right up to in this class we have covered only up to spermatogenesis and gametogenesis, and this is the very important area. In the next video we will be coming with the remaining topic, and until then keep watching our channel and subscribe and support. Okay, so thank you all. Thank you all.